The Halligan, Probar, Brian Osberg, Introduction to Fire Protection 501, Fall 2021, the University of Akron. Even though there are many tools that can be found within the fire industry, the Halligan can be considered the Swiss Army knife that continues to change the fire service. History and origin. The Halligan was invented in 1948 by Hugh Halligan, a New York City Fire Department fire deputy chief. A blacksmith by the name of Peter Clark helped develop the first prototype. The Boston Fire Department was the first major department to purchase the tool due to the FDNY concerns of conflict of interest. Many members of the FDNY purchased their own Halligan. The Halligan soon took the fire industry by storm, becoming one of the three most iconic tools in the service, not only in the United States, but in the world. Married. Majority of the time, you'll find a Halligan paired with an axe. The reasoning behind this is because in the fire industry, they are to be considered married, meaning when one goes, the other goes with it, making it a combination. In the fire service, you will often hear the term the irons. This is referred to the pairing of a Halligan and axe. Construction. A Pro-Bar Halligan, the most popular version of the Halligan, is constructed from a single piece of drop-forged steel alloy to ensure the strength, durability, and longevity of the tool against extreme conditions. The Pro-Bar Halligan is 30 inches in length, measuring from the tip of the forks to the end of the adze. The Halligan weighs in about 10 pounds. Often in the military and law enforcement fields, their tools tend to be black to help ensure stealth. The fire industry is opposite. A Halligan is kept chrome to enhance the visibility of the tool in dark, smoky conditions. The Halligan's anatomy. Three major parts: the adze, the pick, and the fork. The adze and leverage. The adze acts as a slightly curved wedge that is 6 inches in length and varies in width from 1.5 inches to 2 inches. The curvature of the wedge is ideal for working its way to the backside of the door between the seam of the door and the door jamb. The length of a Halligan Pro Bar is 30 inches. The adze, 2 inches wide, would give you a 15-to-1 leverage ratio. The adze at 1.5 inches wide would give you a 20-to-1 leverage ratio. And using the adze length as a pry bar would give you the leverage ratio of 5-to-1. The adze, purpose and use. The adze can be used on both inward and outdoor swinging doors, depending on the scenario and the circumstance. This end of the tool is more ideal for doors that will flex. Your partner will be using an axe by striking the head of the Halligan as you work the curvature of the adze around the curve and with every hit. You will use a push-pull in an upward or downward or inward or an outward direction or combination to achieve the gapping desire with the leverage discussed previously. This will result of one of two things: either a successful breach of the door or a gap large enough to allow you to use a wedge to keep the gapping and reset the tool for another attempt. The adze and additional uses. Adze can be used for numerous additional things outside of forced entries of doors, such as creating a purchase point in vehicle extractions, breaching of interior walls, breaking and pulling lock cylinders from doors, removal of hinges, popping open car hoods, just to name a few. The pick and leverage. The pick is roughly 5 inches in length, is rounded and slightly curved with a sharp point, making it ideal for penetrating and embedding while striking an object. The pick can also be used to pry up on some things. When it comes to the baseball swing technique, you typically don't have leverage compared to using the adze or the forks. The pick, purpose and use. It's safe to say the pick end is the least used end of the Halligan when it comes to breaching doors and the least safest. This tactic is commonly used on interior doors that are the weakest. This style of use consists of an accurate baseball style swing that embeds the pick end into the frame of the door a couple inches above the door handle. This ultimately jeopardizes the strength and integrity of the door frame while allowing you to apply pressure on the door handle, resulting in breaking the door free. The pick and additional uses. The pick can be used for numerous additional things outside of forced entry of doors, such as breaking a window on a car or house, used as an anchor point on a roof for foot support, pulling up manhole covers, used as the anchor point for self-bailout on upper floors, placed inside the shackle of a padlock in order to twist and break free, just to name a few. The fork and leverage. The fork end of the Halligan primary use is also to be set in use to pry between the door and the door jamb. It is also slightly curved, just as the adze. The length of the fork is 6 inches long, with the crotch, the inside gapping of the forks, being 5 inches long. This feature will be discussed on a further slide. The length of a Halligan is 30 inches. The fork length is 5 inches. That will give you the 6-to-1 leverage ratio. The forks, purpose and use. The forks can be used for both inward and outward swinging doors, depending on the situation and circumstance. The forks is most ideal for doors with little or no flex to them. Your partner will be using the axe by striking the head of the Halligan as you work the bevel of the forks around the door with every hit. You will use a push-pull, an inward or outward direction, or a combination to achieve the gapping desire with the leverage discussed previously. This will also result into one of two things: either a successful breach of the door or a gap large enough to allow you to use a wedge to keep the gap and reset for another attempt. The forks and additional uses. The forks can be used for numerous additional things outside of forced entry of doors, such as pulling nails, using as a pry bar to lift debris, using the crotch to turn the utility valve, use as an anchor point for yourself for bailout on upper floors, removal of hinges, prying open windows, just to name a few. The Halligan in action, gapping techniques.
Danny put the light resistance in. We're going to now gap this door on this side with the light resistance. We're going to gap it and then clear it. And then we're going to put a heavier one in and have to fight it a little bit. Okay. I see, once I have it here, I see what locks in real life. I see what locks are holding me. I know I put a hurting on the lock. Okay. A lot of times it's just a clearing move at this point. You're going to want to shoulder it. Just come in here, put this behind, hold it in. Yeah. Push it down. There you go. You gotta fight it a little bit. All right, Danny, put in a heavier one, please. Like that. Okay. Danny set up a heavy resistance. I'm gonna gap it, and I'm gonna show you a little trick. I got a piece of a cutting board, regular firehouse cutting board. Everybody's got them, the heavy plastic ones. This is 3/4 of an inch thick. I'm going to show you how I use this when I happen to be by myself, nobody to hit for me. Okay? Get in here, crack it, see what's holding, okay? Try and clear. Yeah, man, that's not going anywhere. Bring this back in here, hold what I gained, right? Take my regular chalk, use the back of the chalk. The door will collapse onto it. I hold what I gained there. Drop this piece of plastic, which is cutting board. As soon as I apply pressure, the chalk falls out automatically. I come down full, and it gives me another 3/4 of an inch space. Then I take my chalk, push it in there, let the cutting board fall to the floor. Get behind the door now, down, and in. Okay. Okay, Danny put a light resistance in on the other side. I'm going to gap this left-hand opening door. Get my adze in, all right? Tendency of the brothers is to come down off the point, all right? It's all well and good until the point hits the door. Once the point starts hitting the door, it takes you out of the jam and it weakens the power of the adze. So as soon as the point hits, get under the end of the tool here. This is what I do. I come all the way up, and gap it all the way up, all right? This is fairly light. I should be able to clear this. I look to see what's holding me, drop back, and I'm going to try this move to clear. I'm going to lock them both on the jam, and I'm going to go in towards the door, clear it. And I got it, at least I got it that far. Once you get the adze on the back of the door, remember, checkmate, you have the locks. Slide up to where it would be tight, give it that for power, and that to clear. And you're in. All right, left hand opening door. I'm going to gap this. Nobody's here with me. I got to work by myself. So I come in, get it into the stop, crush all the way in. Okay. Now, I know this is going to be hard to clear. I'll try it. It's a heavy resistance. Almost. Okay. Not getting it. Hold that much, grab my chalk, put it in. Now when I come back here, the door will come back and grab the chalk. It's a normal way to flex, the door flexes. Throw this in. As soon as I apply pressure, the chalk falls out. Gonna have to go down and get that. Now I come up full, now I got full 3/4 of an inch there. Drop that in there, let that fall. I'm on the other side of the door. Checkmate. All right? Break the lock, clear the lock. Okay. Okay. I'll try and clear it. Grab my chalk and my helmet, shove it in, give it a tap, okay? I have enough gap here. I'm going to try and slam this home, okay? I could do it this way. It's easier to go in this way. I'll have less push. Maybe I'll go that way. It's easier to do. Got something. Go to the door. Hold that. Beautiful. Okay. If I have a wall here, it's actually harder to get my adze back because the fork would be hitting the wall on that angle. I might have to then go bevel the door and get more. Okay? Tap the chalk. Now, even if I have a wall here, I'll be able to get my adze in, no problem. Okay? Good pop. Good pop.
The Halligan and additional uses. As previously stated, the Halligan and its three major parts have various uses and applications in their respective individual components. But there are still numerous ways we can use the Halligan as a whole. Securing a ladder as anchor point for a tie-down. Clearing windows and doorways of any remaining debris. using it as a step when entering a ground floor window. It can be used to check the integrity of the floor prior to stepping inside of a burning building. More additional uses. The Halligan can be used as an extension of your arm while conducting a search and rescue. Be sure to keep the pick side in your hand to prevent injuries. Tying rescue webbing to the Halligan to use as a pull bar while rescuing victims or fallen firefighters. In worst case scenario, the Halligan can be used as self-protection in a hostile situation. In conclusion, one of the greatest skill sets a firefighter has is the ability to improvise quickly. That's why the endless versatility of the Halligan makes the ultimate Swiss Army knife when it comes to the tools in the fire industry.